Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at Valle Escondido. It's more than just a disaster story. It's really a stark lesson, I think, in collective blindness. How a whole city can choose abstract ideas over what's right in front of them.
Exactly. Picture this beautiful Andean city, Valle Escondido, right beneath this huge quiet mountain called El Durmiente, the Sleeper. But then new money floods in. Suddenly it's all glass towers, finance.
Right, a total shift in focus.
Completely. And that wealth, it sort of created this internal blindness. They were obsessed with, stock tickers, luxury stuff. The mountain, it just became scenery, ignored.
And the mayor's big project was this new waterfront casino running endless projections. Meanwhile, you have this one guy, Elara, the watchman. His knowledge wasn't from spreadsheets or geology reports. It was just simple, honed common sense. He lived with the land, understood its rhythms.
But to the city council, to the planners all focused on maximizing the next quarter's profits.
It was just folklore, easy to dismiss when you're chasing dollars.
And what's critical here is that Elara's warnings weren't vague feelings or, superstitions. These were physical, observable facts, things he gathered over, like the month leading up to it.
Like what specifically?
Okay, so first, the water. He noticed the water in simple earthenware pots was trembling. Tiny, rhythmic tremors. Not random shaking from wind or distant storms. It felt like a pulse from below. Subterranean pressure.
Wow, okay. What else?
The air itself. The mountain's shadow felt colder, sure, but the air, it carried this sharp, acrid smell. Sulfur. You expect pine scent up there, right? Clean mountain air. This was wrong.
Sulfur, that's a classic volcanic sign, isn't it?
A huge one. And the sky. The sunsets changed. They weren't the usual orange and rose. They became this, sickly purple-green. That's filtering through invisible venting gases, fine dust in the high atmosphere.
Subtle, but unmistakable if you're paying attention.
And then the sound. This wasn't something you just hear walking around. He had to put his ear right against the granite outcroppings, and he heard this deep, continuous grinding. He described it like a titanic mortar and pestle, something huge shifting deep inside.
So he takes all this, the trembling water, the sulfur smell, the weird sunsets, the grinding sound. He takes this actual physical data to the city council.
Yes, and this is where it shifts from just observing nature to human arrogance. Human denial. They basically patted him on the head, told him, we're governed by geologists and projections, not old superstitions.
But wait, they had geologists, so they had access to scientific expertise.
They did. But the projections, the models, maybe didn't show imminent danger on their timeline. And Elara's specific, localized sensory data, it contradicted the comfortable narrative needed for, say, approving that casino. So they chose the spreadsheets, chose the projections that supported the profit motive.
That's the core of it, isn't it? Choosing abstraction over reality because reality is inconvenient.
Precisely. So Elara sees this. He realizes they're just deaf.
Yeah.
They won't listen. He doesn't waste more time arguing. He goes straight to the people who might still listen. The farmers, the laborers.
Yeah.
The thousands who still had, as the source says, dirty hands from the soil.
People still connected to the physical world.
Exactly. And he convinces them, based purely on his conviction, his observations. He leads them 40 miles east, up onto a high plateau, just gets them out.
And back in Valle Escondido.
They were literally celebrating, popping champagne, signing a big new tourism contract, business as usual, and then El Durmiente didn't erupt like a classic volcano spewing lava.
No, what happened?
It fractured, a massive tectonic event. The entire cone just collapsed inward, formed a gigantic caldera instantly. The city, the celebration, the contract, all buried in a moment, gone.
Unbelievable, the sheer scale.
Aftermath is telling, too. The survivors, the ones who went with Elara, they started calling him El Profeta, the Prophet. They were sure he had some kind of magic, some divine insight.
But he denied that, right?
He did. He pushed back against it. Said it wasn't magic at all.
Yeah.
He said, look, the only difference was simple calculation. I looked at the ground. I looked at the sky. I paid attention to the changes. The city. They chose, quote, the pleasure of the day and the promise of a prophet. They chose not to look.
So the key takeaway here, the knowledge nugget for us, it's not that they lacked science or data. They had geologists. It was a failure of attention, a failure of common sense. They literally traded their lived experience, their connection to the physical world for comfort and projected wealth, a soft life.
They preferred the map to the territory even when the territory was screaming at them. And that leaves us and you listening with a pretty pointed question, I think.
Valle Escondido wasn't really destroyed by ignorance, was it? It was destroyed by its refusal to trust embodied experience over abstract theory. So the question for you is, what are the signals in your own world, in your work, your community, The small, maybe uncomfortable, physical truths that you might be currently deafening yourself to because they don't fit the plan, the projection, the profitable narrative. What are you choosing not to see?